Okay, so for tonight's homework help, I'm going to do number 18 from the first section of your homework, and that is where they ask us to do a prime factorization of 64. Now, remember when we talked about this in class, I showed you guys how to use your factor tree, and I'm going to do the same thing again. And what I like to do with these is I try to keep my prime numbers on the left-hand side of my tree. So if I look at 64, I try to think of numbers that go into that, and I know that 2 goes into that evenly because 64 is an even number. So what times 2 is 64? That'd be what, 32? And then I think, okay, I can also put 2 into 32 because it's even. So what times 2 is 32? That would be 16. Again, I can do a 2 and an 8 for 16. And 8 again is still even. I can break that down into a 2 and a 4. And 4 we can break down into 2 and 2. So my prime factorization of 64 would be 2 times what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that would be 2 to the 6th power. For our next problem, I'm going to do number 30 from the same page. That's where they ask you to find the GCF of a monomial. And on number 30, your monomials are negative 64n to the 4th and 24n squared. So again, I want to write a factorization for each of these. From the one that we just did, we know that 64 would be equal to 2 to the 6th power. And then I would be times n 4 times if we expand that n to the 4th. And then 24 would factor into, if we need to do a tree over to the side, go ahead and do it. Well, it's 2 times 12, 2 times 6, and 2 times 3. So 24 would factor into 2 times 2 times 2 times 3, and then my n squared would factor into n times n. And let's see what we have in common here. I have 2 n's, and then I have 3 2's, and I can pull 3 2's out of my 2 to the 6th here. So my GCF, once I pull everything out, would give me the 3 2's, so 2 to the 3rd, times n squared, and well, 2/3 is 8, n squared. Right. And now the last one that I'm going to do is going to be number 31 from the next section of your homework, where we're finding the GCF of a polynomial. We have negative 4d to the 4th plus d cubed minus 3d squared. So what you can do for each of these terms is you can break them down into their factorizations. So I know that negative 4d to the 4th would break down into negative 2 times d times d times d times d times d, right? There's 4 d's there. I know that d cubed would break down into d times d times d. And I know that my negative 3d squared would break down into negative 3 times d times d. And again, I want to look for the largest amount of variables that I have in common. So if I have 2 d's here, all I can take out from each of these terms would be my 2 d's. I don't have any of my coefficients in common, so the most that I can take out on this polynomial is a d squared. And what do I have left over? Well, for my first one, I have a negative 4 d squared. From my second term, I have just 1 d. And from my last term, I have a negative 3 left over. So my factored form would be d squared times the quantity negative 4d squared plus d minus 3. Good luck with the rest of your assignment.